Hi, I'm Kathy. I'm the Adult Services Librarian at the Waynesville branch, and I am in the Senior Resource Center kitchen today, and I'm going to show you how to make muscadine or scuppernong jelly. This is part of the series that I've been doing for the last few months on local delights, which are things that you should know how to make if you live here. At least you should be aware of, because they're really delightful things that you might not find anywhere else. So what we're going to be doing today is using these wild grapes. They're called muscadine, if they're purple, or scuppernong, if they're the light green ones. And so these grapes are unusual. They're wild grapes. They're really, really tough skin, and inside is a lot of seeds. As you can see, they're delicious. The juice is delicious, but they're kind of tough to eat because the skin is really thick and there's a lot of seeds in them. So one of the most common things that people do with them is extract the juice and make jelly. What we're going to make today is called spoon jelly, which is a little bit looser than store-bought jelly, but you can make it however you want. I'll show you how to adjust the recipe. So come on over here and take a look at what I've got in my sauce pot. So in the sauce pot I have 2 quarts of grapes, 1 scuppernong and 1 muscadine. So this will be a little bit pinker than this batch that I made a couple weeks ago. As you can see, that's really purple. That was all purple grapes. So I've mixed the two, so it's going to be a little bit lighter in color. And what you do for about 20 to 30 minutes, you just smash it with this potato masher until you get all of the juice extracted. And then we're going to just pour that into a cheesecloth lined colander, and you can let it drip for an hour or 2 if you've got the time. So we've poured all of our mixture into a cheesecloth lined colander, and we're going to let that drain. If you have the time, let it drain for a couple of hours on its own. That will yield a clearer jelly. If you don't have the time and you want to kind of force it through, you can stir it like this and it'll happen a lot quicker, and you'll get the juice will be a little bit more cloudy because you will be pushing some of the solids through. But if it doesn't matter to you and you don't want to take the time, you can help it drain. We're going to let this sit for a few minutes, and we should have about 3 cups of juice. So check back with me in just a minute and we'll see what we've got. We have 3 cups of grape juice. And keep in mind that you can use store-bought grape juice to make this recipe if you'd like, but I think it's much better if you buy fresh grapes and extract the juice from them. So that's what we have in this pan, is 3 cups of juice. And to that, we're going to add some lemon juice. Don't get the reconstituted if you're not going to squeeze it from a lemon. Get this brand because it is actually not from concentrate, it's lemon juice. Pectin, which is powdered, and 3.5 cups of sugar. So the first thing we're going to do is add this pectin. It's about 1 ounce. Like I mentioned earlier, this is a spoon jelly, which makes it a little bit looser. It's the way that I like it. But if you want it to be really thick, like conventional store-bought jelly, just add a little bit more pectin. So that was about 1 ounce. So now we want to bring this up to high to boil. So we'll be back in just a minute once that starts to boil. I forgot to mention before the lemon juice. So I did add 1/2 tablespoon of lemon juice at the same time that I added the pectin. This is what's called a full rolling boil, that you cannot whisk it away. So, and I had to turn the burner way down because I'm on an electric stove, and I'm sure you all know how that goes. It's harder to control than a flame. And then you add your 3.5 cups of granulated sugar all at once. Stir that in, and we're going to bring it back to a rolling boil, and this is important. It needs to boil hard for 1 minute and 15 seconds. So once we get all our sugar mixed in, it shouldn't take it too long. I'm going to turn the heat back up now. This is one of those things with an electric stove. It's always so tricky because it was starting to boil over and was hard to control because, you know, the flame is a little erratic on an electric stove. So I brought it back up to a full rolling boil. We're gonna do that for 1 minute and 15 seconds, and you have to stir the whole time. So keep your eye on it. If it starts to look like it's going to go over, just pull it off the heat for a couple seconds. That's the tricky thing about these electric stoves. But as you can see, it's still a full boil. So I'm just keeping an eye on it that it doesn't go over. Time yourself because it's really hard to guess at what 1 minute and 15 seconds is. And then once this has boiled the full time, we're going to take it off the stove, let it cool for a minute, and you'll see that there's like little bubbles, kind of foam on top. We're going to skim that off and pour it. I think we're getting real close to our time. Yep, we got 25 seconds left. You can see it's, if I had a bigger pot, you know, it wouldn't really be an issue with it possibly boiling over. So there you go. That's what it's going to look like while you're stirring it. And our time is up. So there's a little bit of foam on top. I'll show you. You can scoop it off with a big spoon. See what it looks like. And it's not going to hurt your jelly. Again, it's about aesthetics, really. And I am not going to process this jelly. It doesn't make that big of a batch, which is one thing I really like about this recipe. You'll be able to either give it away or use it yourself before it goes bad in the fridge. So we're not going to process it. So this is a really easy way to make jelly without having to go through the whole processing. I think it's water bath that you would do. And if you do want to process it, just check out the Ball website and get their times and the pressure or the water bath, what temperature it should be at, and make sure that you are careful about that. But we're not going to do that today, and I just want to show you how easy this is because you can use glass, which I have here. You can also just use these plastic containers. And so what you're going to do is you're just going to pour your mixture in. And I don't even really need a funnel because it's real easy to pour it just like this. And you can see there's a little bit of that foam that's on top. So if you don't like that, it's like if you're going to give this for a gift and you find that troublesome, you can always go in and take it off. I'm not bothered by it at all. So I'm just going to leave that little bit that's on there. And then you just keep pouring until you get all your containers full and let it sit on the counter. In a couple hours, you will hear, especially if you use this kind, you'll hear the little pop, the suction. And if you're in Tupperware, of course, you won't hear it, but you're not really worried about the seal. You just want to let it sit at room temperature and it'll start to thicken up, and then it'll get even thicker when you put it in the fridge. So that's it. It's real simple to make muscadine or scuppernong jam or jelly. The difference between jam, jelly, and preserves is that jam has more of the solids in it. Preserves has sometimes even bits of skin in it, and it's a lot thicker and more, it's actually easier to spread. So this is, in my opinion, the easiest of all three. And if you would like the written instructions, please visit the library's webpage. And if you have any questions for me, please email me at the address you see below. And thanks so much for watching. And check out these great books on canning. We have the all-new Ball book of canning and preserving, and 2 books on small batch recipes, which you can check out. Do-it-yourself canning and preserving by the pint.